I was gonna say, what is these? What are we about to look at?
So
For those who have just opened this segment on YouTube or have just tuned into the stream, what are we about to do?
Over the course of the last week, people have been going wild with all the stuff that they've been posting, their ideas in the workshop and their works in progress and stuff that they've put together and they've really polished. There's a ton of awesome stuff here, and I'm excited to go through and talk a little bit about what you guys have been working on. That's maybe not quite so like polished and refined as, and that's not like the expectation for any of this stuff. V-Bunny put a lot of work into really refining and making sure that
it was beautiful.
It was well put together. And these are more just like ideas and works in progress. And so we're not going to go like a rigorous review like we did on Lich's Lair. With V-Bunny, we're just going to go through and just kind of roughly give some thoughts, what we like about flavor. Just if we have like balanced thoughts and stuff, we'll throw them out. But it's going to be a more loose run through of the stuff that you guys put together.
And the biggest thing about this, right, everything that you see here, you can find on our Discord in the workshop tab. dndtime.stream #Discord will bring you right to our Discord, and you can give your thoughts on this stuff to the creators in the chat on Discord, who will incorporate your idea or at least be interested in your feedback, because that's what this is all about helping each other to create more exciting and more interesting content for each other. So yeah, if you've got ideas, please come on Discord and contribute them, because I'm sure the creators would love it. Pete,
indeed. Without further ado, let's look at the first thing here. This is the Soldier's Pendant. It was actually posted in completed works by Dude Man, and this is one that Dude Man put
nice.
This is a finished magic item and put it in completed works. So as a general rule, also to talk about that really quick, I'm generally going to try and go after stuff. If there comes down to a question of us running out of time, I'm going to try and hit the ones that people are like, this is the polished, this is it.
Yeah, we're going to prioritize completed works.
So this is the Soldier's Pendant by Dude Man. Thanks for showing it off, Dude Man.
Can I quickly just say, Pete?
Yes.
It's a common magic item. I'm so excited. I love common magic.
I know that's
if you make a common magic item, you've made me smile. Pete, sorry, take it.
Yes. Okay. So this common, wondrous item requires attunement. This pendant is made of silver chain and has a silver sword charm attached to it. The pendant has 3 charges. While attuned to this item, you can cast True Strike as a bonus action on your turn by expending 1 charge. Ooh. After a long rest, the pendant regains 1d4 minus 1 charges. All right. So my first thought on this is it's maybe a little bit too strong to be a common magic item. I'm really excited that you're using True Strike. True Strike as a bonus action makes it like a usable effect.
Does it?
Yeah, it's not like super great, but I think it's usable. Like a rogue with this, they get to like guarantee a sneak attack in a situation where they might not have had it, or like I think there's cool uses for this.
What is True Strike even? It's taken so long. It's been so long since I looked at True Strike. Oh my god!
It gives a creature advantage on their next attack as an action.
No, it doesn't.
True Strike is the help action.
It doesn't. It says on your next turn you have advantage on the first attack.
Yes. I'm sorry, it's only you. So it's
but it also has to be your next turn.
It's a self-help action.
It has to be on your next turn.
I see what you're saying.
Instead of, that's why I was wondering. So basically, you'd use this bonus action to set yourself up for your next turn. And it's a concentration ability. I like this a lot.
Yeah, I think it's still very cool.
I also think, and this is a little, I think this could be a common magic item.
You think so?
I do. I actually do. I see this absolutely as the kind of item that like a soldier on a battlefield could have. Like, this feels like the kind of item they would fucking churn out for an army.
But but common usually refers to, like, rarity refers to balance more than it does lore.
Yes, you're right. You're absolutely correct. I don't know. I'm not sure I'd put this as an uncommon item.
I just think it's on the very low end of uncommon, personally. I like it a lot. I think the flavor of it works for me. Like the silver chain, silver sword, the simplicity of it.
Yeah, no, it's great.
Works. I like the way I like the the charge regaining is kind of standard and it all works. It's phrased well. All of it lines up. I don't know. That's my thought. I think it should be uncommon.
When you think about it, like they're really, I don't know, like what's the hat of wizardry? I don't know. You get to cast a cantrip you don't know. This is advantage 3 times on subsequent turns.
Yeah,
a low recharge, maybe 0 Pete, a D4 -1.
I mean, I feel like recharges aren't that like. You'll have it.
I don't know about that.
Jeremy, you'll have it.
I mean, in D&D time.
I mean, certainly in D&D time,
but not in
most campaigns.
Yeah, and True Strike is a concentration. I don't know, man. I think this is a very strong common magic item. But regardless of whether it's common or uncommon, it's incredible. It's well made, and I really, really like it.
Yeah. Agreed.
Thank you for sharing, dude, man.
Yeah,
very cool deal.
There's a couple more from Dude Man in here. He's got a lot of greens.
Farful saying True Strike is concentration. Yeah, it is.
True Strike is a rough one.
Congratulations, dude, man. You have done it. You have discovered the one way to make True Strike good. Give you a round of applause.
All right.
Oh, we got a whole nother doc for this one.
So yes, this is a subclass that Blood Deuce put together. He posted in the workshop. But it's the whole subclass. So we're not going to have time to do the same kind of heavy critique, obviously. But I would like to just go through
vampire bloodline instead of like a dragon bloodline.
Yeah, I'm into that flavor for starters. I think Blood Deuce said he hadn't like gotten to writing up the flavor, but just vampire sorcerer. Yeah, it works for sure. It works.
No, I totally think it would.
There's some.
In fact, the Vistani from Curse of Strahd, they kind of had a mystic race option in 4E, and I know there are some kind of vampire weirdness in that kind of stuff. Anyway, sorry. Very cool. I ramble.
Yes. So so here's the first feature here: Vampiric Fledgling. This sorcerers get their moves right when they get their subclass stuff right when they start.
Bless.
You gain the ability to reap life energy from creatures you kill with your spells. Once per turn, when you kill one or more creatures with a spell of 1st level or higher, you regain hit points equal to twice the spell's level, or 3 times its level if the spell is a necromancy spell. You don't gain this benefit for killing constructs or undead. In addition, you know the thaumaturgy cantrip, what doesn't count against the number of cleric cantrips you know. I assume that's supposed to be sorcerer cantrips.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. But unless they get cleric cantrips at some point, and we haven't read it yet, which would be weird. That'd be interesting if that's the...
I'm interested, is the thaumaturgy just the...
okay, yeah, Blood Deuce is
the magic. Yeah, Blood, don't worry. I do that all the time.
An honest mistake.
I'm wondering if the thaumaturgy is just for the otherworldly, like your eyes change color and stuff, like the drama of it.
I think that's exactly what it's for.
I'm assuming.
Yeah, which I think is cool.
Let's look at these spells. Inflict wounds. Yep, top notch. I really like that spell.
Hex
Enthrall is so vampire.
Brave Enfeeblements is there.
Very good pick so far.
Obviously, Vampiric Touch. I mean, what
Shadow Moil,
about?
so cool.
Polymorph. Oh, dude, turn into a bat.
Huh. That's one of those ones where does that really fit?
I got it immediately. I mean, I got it immediately.
Not everyone's going to get that, but the ones who do, it's going to make them smile.
Direwolf, like wolf vampire too.
Very good.
Works for me. Gios, yeah.
Now, there is, I will say, there is one little tidbit, and that is Shadow of Moil and Negative Energy Flood are both from, I think, Volo's Guide. No, not Volo's. Xanathar's Guide. Typically, you don't use those in the spell list, but I think that's dumb, so I like that you included them.
Yeah, I'm with you. I agree.
Wizards doesn't include them because Wizards doesn't want to assume that you have their products that aren't the player's handbook. But we're not Wizards, so we can pick cool stuff.
Fledgling, Vampiric Fledgling. The only thing that I would be a little
What are you looking at?
The first creature. The only thing I'd be a little careful on that first creature is the kill phrasing. Just because killing has more implications. I should probably go with reduced to 0 for that.
Otherwise, I like it a lot. I like not adding the constructs that are undead, just like healing. I think that's a really fun little touch that really makes it feel a lot more legitimate than your generic run-of-the-mill ability. Let's see, Shroud of Night. Your resistant necrotic damage and hit point maximum can't be reduced. Oh, I love that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, that's very cool. That's very flavorful for
that is a very. I love it. Top notch.
And also at 6th level, you can properly Umbral Kiss. You can properly utilize your vampiric heritage to sustain yourself. I like that phrasing. Cracked me up. Just like, this is how you be a vampire. This is you really using your vampire to its fullest. As an action, you may target a creature that is charmed or incapacitated. That's already I know where it's going, and that's cool for it. They must make a con save against your spell save DC. On a successful save, the target is immune to this feature for 24 hours. On a failed save, they take 3d8 necrotic damage and gain a level of exhaustion. You regain hit points equal to half the damage dealt and cannot use this feature again until you finish a short or long rest. Constructs and undead automatically succeed the saving throw, and the damage scales with level.
The damage scaling, I think, is a little weird for a level 6 feature. Usually, if a feature has scaling on it, it's because you get that feature multiple times normally. I don't know if off the top of my head, if the Sorcerer's level 6 spell has progression. I'm just not sure. But that's my only comment here. Otherwise, it's very neat.
Cold Spark, I think the flavor of having to kill someone for the healing is incredible. I get that actually quite a bit. And I agree that it's really cool on paper, but I think in practical play in a campaign, having to go out of your way to get your feature to happen like after the battle's over.
Just take the text from I think the Beholder, the Death Ray, the number 10 roll on its eye beams. A creature to 0 hit points or more is killed. Just add that on there.
You want to just say if you cast a spell at someone,
it kills them if it reduces them to 0. I don't think that's really game breaking, and I think that could.
I think it might be frustrating. The thing I'm not worried about is it being game breaking balance wise. I think it might be frustrating for a party that you're playing with, unless you're playing with a very specific party.
Well, maybe that's just a choice. Maybe you can choose to kill them. Maybe you can't. I mean, you're playing a vampire.
Yeah,
I would say if you want to keep the kill, I think that's the way to do it, because the mechanical implication is reduced to 0 hit points.
Yeah, if that's a sticking point of the design, I agree that it's a good way to do it. But I just think it's a little. It's
I'm saying I don't feel like it worked if Umbral Kiss didn't scale. Yeah, I will say there's some funkiness about on a successful save, the target's immune for this 24 hours. That's a little bit of a funky one, just because that typically is on monsters, not on player character things. I'm not sure it's a problem. It just breaks convention. But I love the flavor of Umbral Kiss.
But also, like, you're kind of a monster, so there's...
I want to give another quick note. First, I think you should need to put a range on that and make a melee whatever attack. Or make a Constitution saving throw, whatever you want to put on there. But it needs a range. And then I really like that you didn't say you bite them and drink their blood. I like that you didn't do that, but you left it open-ended for people who wanted to take this class in a slightly different direction.
Yeah.
Right? I think that's really, really neat. I know some people... there are some other cool concepts of vampires that aren't just, I bite them in the neck and drink all their blood, but have comparable kind of concepts that just function in different ways. And I think that was really respectful of you to those other ideas, whether intentionally or otherwise, to leave it more open-ended.
Yeah, agreed. Farker was saying spells can't non-lethal anyways, I think. I think the issue is instead how in your given campaign your DM deals with character death. Because that's kind of, or NPC death. Like, I think a lot of GMs just when you down an enemy, it's just kind of assumed that they're dead, but not everyone plays that way, and it kind of.
Yeah, exactly. There are rules in the game for how that kind of stuff works, but in the end, the rules are so unimportant and buried in the Dungeon Master's Guide that every player does it slightly differently. But again, these are very minute little nitpicks. It's actually awesome. I really like this so far.
Yeah.
What's Life Beyond Death, Pete?
On Life Beyond Death, starting at 14th level, the necrotic energy. The necrotic energy flowing through you allows you to resist death. When you have to make a death saving throw at the end of your turn and fail, you can instead disperse into a 15-foot radius fog with a burst of necrotic energy. Each creature that is within the fog takes necrotic damage equal to 2d8 plus your charisma mod, and is blinded until the end of the current turn. You regain hit points equal to the total damage dealt, and then reform at a point of your choice within the fog on your next turn. Constructs and undead are immune to the damage dealt by this effect. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest. In addition, all undead have disadvantage on saving throws against spells of first level or higher cast by you. All right.
I don't know how this fits in the balance perspective, but that is an incredibly strong, just the first part. It's a very powerful feature. Having no saving throw on the blind, it's a little much. I think this might be right out of the vampire or something. I'm not sure. I haven't looked at it.
The vampire turns into fog, but I don't think they have this, like, it deals damage and then
I think it's
reforms them.
I like the turning into fog part. I'm even okay with the damage aspect. I just think maybe you need to put a save on that boy.
When you did the fog thing, I was kind of excited for you just being a fog that was flying around. And then I was hoping that you'd be a fog longer, but the fact that it comes back kind of disappointed me a little bit for what I wanted this to do.
Spellcasting fog, Pete. I feel like that can be a race option.
Personal taste.
I'm an aerogel. Anyway.
And also the all undead have disadvantage on saving throws. Seems a little rough. It seems like somehow better undead hate than cleric. So I think that's just a little much stacked on to already a pretty strong feature.
Yeah, and I think Farfel has a really good point. Just make the fog area heavily obscured rather than having it blind. I think that's a very good, a neat way of handling it.
A good compromise there.
Dark Metamorphosis. You want to take this one, Pete? Or actually, I'll take this guy. You can read them all. At 18th level, you gain the ability to fully delve into your vampiric powers. You may expend 8 sorcery points, that's a lot, as a bonus action to take on one of the following forms for the next minute. It ends early if you're incapacitated, if you die, or if you dismiss it as a bonus action. Cunning form and savage form. Okay. Okay, you get the rogue's reliable talent for charisma features. Advantage on wisdom insight checks.
You can't. People can't.
Effect of the glibness spell. And blending in.
The blending in is cool. That seems the fact that it's a minute is a little weird for me for that feature.
I think I get where you're going from here. I think that this might just be a bit much. 8 sorcery points is so much. It's almost half your sorcery point pool. That's a lot.
Yeah, to start with, I'd also like to see it. Like, if we were going to go this way, I'd rather it be once per long rest. But let's finish the feature too.
Oh, I'm sorry. In savage form, I read it, but I didn't read it out loud. You get resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage. Your hands grow barbed claws that serve as natural weapons, which you can use to make unarmed strikes. You take the attack with these claws. You make 2 unarmed strikes using the charisma instead of strength, which is 2d4 plus charisma and modifier magic slashing damage. You can flying speed equal to walking speed and can hover in the air. And you have advantage on constitution checks made to maintain concentration on all checks made to escape or evade grapples.
I really love that half.
I would like this if I think rather than having this be a Nightmax, I think rather than having this be a take an action to make this transformation, I would almost prefer that it is you have undergone this transformation and you always gain certain features like the hover, right? Or small fly speed.
The hover is so sweet.
Or
that's the thing that's selling me on this is all of a sudden you just go full vampire and you just start floating off the ground. It just feels so right to me.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to you give instead of a fly speed, a hover speed like the Beholder, I'm sorry, they get a fly speed, but a fly hover speed, this charisma thing. I think you can just always have. I don't think you necessarily need this insight feature. I don't know. I would like to consolidate this into one. You always have these 6 features because you're a fucking vampire now. That'd be my personal take.
Yeah, I'm kind of inclined. For me, that's
breaking convention. But again, I think the huge sorcery point cost for
Agreed.
Big
The biggest
boon
thing
is
the
bad
source.
convention.
How you would implement it, there's a lot of choices that you could go in different directions, but 8 sorcery points when you want to just be using your sorcery points to do fun sorcery things is, I think, too much of a task.
I mean, what is it? The Dragon Sorcerer gets a big fear thing for 5 sorcery points, and it is, in my opinion, the worst feature in the game.
Because that's a hot take.
I will say it is worse than everything the 4 Elements Monk will ever do. It is worse
True Strike.
It is worse than True Strike.
Yeah, I mean, if I were picking one,
so much.
If I were picking one, I'd be probably on the same vibe.
I would not emulate that design, even if the Shadow Sorcerer did.
Funnily enough, I have a similar. Another one that's on my list is the Barbarian Intimidate one from the front, which does a very similar thing.
That's just disappointing, not necessarily bad design. Just uses charisma for no apparent reason.
Anyway, these are some rough
This is very cool. I just think you can consolidate these awesome ideas into something that's way more usable. Not more usable, but that feels less punishing. So many.
But I know I mean, I don't even think it needs to be said that a lot of people want to do the vampire thing, and I think this is a pretty good execution of that goal.
Pete, you wanna take a jump on this lightning rod?
Yeah, lightning staff.
I'm gonna be right back while you handle this guy, Pete. I gotta catch that real quick.
This is one from Dude Man. It is a quarterstaff, an artifact that requires attunement and value. I assume in coin is the reference there. Is the unknown, but also is not something that's necessarily needed on an item. An artifact here too, so it's a very powerful one. We expect. This staff has the elemental gem of lightning at its core. It is made of storm giant steel and crackles with lightning. It seems as if its powers are dormant, however. The staff has the staff has a +1 damage to attack and +1 to Jesus. I'm stumbling all over the place. I'm getting a little bit tired, guys. The staff has a +1 to attack and damage rolls and does an extra 1d6 lightning damage. You can also make a ranged spell attack +9 as an action that does 2d8 lightning damage. The special attack has a range of 60 to 90 feet. This weapon also has charges equal to your proficiency bonus that are restored after a long rest. You can expend the charges in the following ways. Shocking Jolt is the first option. 1 charge. As an action, you can force a creature within 30 feet to make a DC 14 Constitution saving throw or be stunned until the end of its next turn. And Lightning Bolt. As an action, the staff shoots out a lightning bolt in a line that is 5 feet wide, 90 feet long. Creatures in this line must make a DC 14 Dex saving throw or take 46 lightning damage or half as much on a successful save. And then you gain the following properties while attuned to it. You're resistant to lightning damage, and after you finish a long rest, you know the weather over the next 24 hours. I like that as well. Cold Spark was saying what happened to the other 2 phases. And you're saying this one's a work in progress. Yeah, I get you on that. I'm not sure what the other 2 phases are. So some early thoughts here. I think the Storm Giant Steel and the way that it, I think the flavor on it's cool. It's exciting. The Elemental Gem of Lightning, it has this extra kind of lore to it that you'd expect from an artifact. Some of it is this is the dormant state. So I assume the phases must be. This is the only one that I saw. So maybe there were more pieces of this that I missed. But this dormant stage was the only one that I saw. If they're posted in the workshop, I apologize.
I guess we will have to look at those.
Whoopsies. Yeah. I will. Well, for starters, let me just evaluate the dormant phase here. Then we'll come back later for other stuff. It might end up being a future week, but for one thing, the fact that this is the dormant mode and it has more to it that's getting in the territory of what I would expect from an artifact is for it to have different phases and stuff like that. So that's, I think, very cool. And weapons that evolve over time. I don't know the conditions for evolution arcs. I can't see it, but I think that's cool as well. Farfel should probably have minor major beneficial properties, as that's a convention for artifacts. That's true, but usually those are applied not to the artifact, but then it's just also it has these properties, which might happen in later phases too.
That might be an interesting thing to add, though, just as a way. I think one of the big things about the minor and major detrimental or beneficial properties, the big reason I think they exist is less for a balance reason and more of an artifact is an incredibly unique item. The artifact will only exist, like, it's not going to exist in every person's game. It's going to come up really rarely. And your experience with this artifact, this item of beyond legend, is going to be unique. And that's what those tables are really for. They're a way of making the Hand of Vecna in your campaign truly unique and have a unique experience, as opposed to the Hand of Vecna in Pete's campaign or in my campaign if we decide to use that item. So I would personally highly recommend, if you're okay with it, incorporating those kind of aspects in, just so that if this item is used across multiple people's campaigns, right, everyone will have their own cool, unique twist to it. Oh, my lightning staff caused me to not be able to sleep. Maybe I could only hear.
I never thought of that particular angle on the reasoning for the.
That's the point. It's the purpose of it.
Yeah, I never put that thought together. But that's a cool way of looking at it.
Absolutely, and I love that because, right, like, let's say like creatures within 300 feet of you can't sleep, right? Can't get comfortable rest. It's one of the major detrimental properties. And with the lightning staff, maybe that is like they hear thunderous echoes in their dreams, right? That's how you interpret that. And that takes a really cool note of like, okay, that was a detrimental property, but it's really cool.
And now it's part of the story, you know?
Yeah.
For sure. And that's what an artifact should be, as part of the story, usually. But Lightning Bolt, you know, I guess my only like flavor note on it is Lightning Bolt. It feels like it should just do the Lightning Bolt spell to me, because when I see Lightning Bolt written down, I think of the very iconic 8d6 and a big line from the spell Lightning Bolt. So it might be worth just simplifying this to that, unless you have a real particular reason why you're attached to the version of it you have there. And obviously, maybe not too.
I'll be honest, 90 feet as opposed to 100 feet that Lightning Bolt, like normal Lightning Bolt is. Oh my! Please don't. Please. Oh, that little thing makes me go, ugh, because it's just, why is it 10 feet shorter? If you have a really good reason, that's great, but you're killing my OCD. I'm fine with it having less damage, but I understand why Pete wanted more too.
All right. Yeah, I didn't want more because I thought it should do more.
I'm sorry, I wanted it to be consistent.
Yeah.
At least change the name from.
And one thing I'm seeing here is I'm looking now.
The staff is 10 feet long because the Storm Giant staff. In fact, genius. That's where the other 10 feet come from. Sorry, Pete. Go ahead.
Well, I'm laughing at the. I'm looking at the next forms of it, which are the Awakened and the Exalted. There's a link that we're just placed.
I'm looking at it right now.
Great. We'll hop to that Awakened form.
You betcha. I'm on it. Oh, I'm too zoomed in. I'm on it right now.
And I get what they're going now for the Lightning Bolt is it gets better in later forms. So in the final form, it becomes the full-fledged Lightning Bolt spell.
Oh, see, I'm a Dumbo. That makes a lot more sense. I really like that.
Yeah, so I get it now. So it improves the power, the bonus. It improves the number of charges that it has. It improves the saving throws on those charges. So the Shocking Jolt. And then it adds Defibrillation. I want to read this one. As a bonus action, you may expend a charge to restore 2+d6 proficiency bonus to a creature of your choice within 60 feet. You may increase the ceiling by 1d6 for each charge. 1d6 for each charge you spend beyond the initial point. I love that.
Very cool. I like that a lot.
You just go over. There's something so joyful in a party about if you're the wizard going over and you're wielding this like legendary lightning staff, and you go over and then just and you heal them for a bunch, which you get the fun of being like, I'm shocking you with my electric staff, and also they get the fun of being back in the fight.
And I just want to make a quick note here about Shocking Jolt. Action, DC 15 con save, stun. This might be one of the most balanced stun effects I've ever seen in 5e.
That's a great
most
point.
Stun effects are either really busted or
completely
really bad.
useless.
This is a really, really well balanced stun effect.
Yeah, I didn't even
I didn't think about it because it works. Isn't this just the Hammer of Thunderbolts, but with extra steps? I don't know, V-Bunny. I'm not looking at the Hammer of Thunderbolts off the top.
Yeah,
but I think there's a lot of uniqueness, at least in flavor. I think there's space in 5e for multiple lightning-based magical artifacts.
Yeah, magic items I think have a lot more broadness, than class and race design. Even really just class design is the only area where it starts to get kind of.
I mean, there's even room for even if it's it's a flame tongue sword or this is the volcano blade. I think there's room for both of those in 5e, even if they do really similar stuff.
And then it also it upgrades the resistance to immunity. I mean, that's really powerful, but also it's an artifact. So
it's lightning.
It's an artifact too. After you finish a long rest, you know the weather. I love that one so much. And you bypass resistance. Oh, so you ignore lightning resistance.
I moved down to the exalted version, Pete. The last one on the next page.
I just wanted to finish up that awakened because there's another. And then the staff is at the peak of its power, so everything scales again. You get the shocking jolt up to a DC 17, which is a tough DC, and also I have to assume that this is meant for the end of the game. So yeah, I imagine there's things that are gonna have.
So it's an artifact item that you then have to exalt through however means that is.
So I assume that that's not an unreasonable save for the level that we're at.
Wondering, Dubin, because you're in the chat here. I know that Matt Mercer has this same kind of empowering or self-empowering magic items in his Tal'Dorei campaign setting book for Critical Role, and it's going to be also in the new one he's coming out with for Wildmount, where legendary artifact level items, right, can basically attune to their wielder, right, and become exalted is the terminology he uses. Was your concept of exalted based on that kind of assumption? Or was it, or was your intention kind of your own idea of how this would become exalted? Just a question, so you've got time to answer that if you want to, or while we kind of read through the rest of these.
Yeah. So the defibrillation goes up to a bonus action.
It's already a bonus action last turn, I think, right?
Oh, wait, was it?
Yeah, I think it was.
Oh.
Yeah, bonus action.
Oh, you're right. I thought it was.
Oh, okay, it was based on that. See, I'm not familiar with how that works. I know that the character needs a strong emotional trigger or something, or spiritual trigger to exalt the item. So I think
it added the reaction. When someone goes down, you can defibrillate them as a reaction.
Ooh,
that's pretty cool.
Ooh.
And then the final one is Storm of the Ancients. As an action, you can expend charges to call upon the Storm of the Ancients. And as bonus action turn, creatures of your choice got to make a big old save or take. I wouldn't want to make that save 17 just to match the other saves personally.
Yes. Yep.
Or take 8d8 lightning damage, half as much on a failed saving throw. The area is heavily unscared, so you just summon a big lightning storm. That's righteous.
Oh God. Wait. Creatures of your choice. Was it just any? You just pick any number of creatures.
I just assumed that there was in my mind, I put it
that might be too much.
Radius. Yeah, that's a lot. Technically speaking, you could do that and deal 8d8 lightning damage to everyone in the world. I choose all creatures.
I mean, even if it was let's say, let's take the lightning storm spell, right, which is 100-foot radius, I think. Cloud.
Yeah, it's still a lot of cloud.
I think you could do it. I think that would be okay. Honestly, on this kind of a thing, but
you get to do it twice, and that's the whole item stuff, pretty much. So
yeah, I mean, I like it a lot.
Oh, it's a powerful.
How many charges do you have?
4 charges.
Oh wait, how many? How many have total?
You're gonna have 8.
Oh,
I'm sorry. Yeah. So 2 plus. I'm saying 2 plus your proficiency bonus is. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. Am I doing this wrong?
Well, no, because then on bonus action.
Oh no, yeah. So it has 2 plus your proficiency bonus charges, and I'm assuming that you have a proficiency bonus of +6. So it's 8. So you get to do it twice.
Okay. I mean, this is a very powerful but also very cool ability.
You bypass resistance and immunity to lightning damage when you deal lightning damage. I almost wanted to say to reduce immunity to resistance, but because bypassing immunity, I feel like as a dungeon master, I guess. But the thing is, if you're a dungeon master putting this in your game, you know that's what it's going to do. Never mind, it's all fine.
Well, I still. I still disagree. I mean, I think the creatures that, like, the whole point of this, right, is it's a like legendary item, right? But creatures that have immunity to lightning damage are like the Kraken, a legendary creature, right? I think by ignoring their immunity outright, you're kind of devaluing, right, the monster
who the Kraken is. Yeah,
exactly.
That was my first instinct.
That was my only thought. Maybe I think if you treat immunity as resistance and treat resistance as nothing, that would be a compromise.
And lastly, when you take lightning damage, every time you take lightning damage, you restore a charge to the item. So when you use your Storm of the Ancients, you also hit yourself and get your charge back. Or can use this ability of the item as a reaction, expending. I don't know. I don't think it's clear what that last half does. Or can use an ability of this item as a reaction, expending one less charge.
You can use a lightning bolt or a defibrillation or a shocking jolt as your reaction.
As like an opportunity attack?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, just a little clarity on like when that reaction can occur.
But this is a very cool item. I want to say, dude, man, it's really hard to make these kinds of items.
Yeah, to hit that end game, to hit those end game.
It's a really good work in progress. I really am excited to see where this ends up.
Yeah, absolutely. Artifacts are just a blast to design, and you can feel the love.
They're so hard too, because you really need to make it. And I think Storm of the Ancients is a feature that, without Storm of the Ancients, this is a really cool weapon, but it's not an artifact. With Storm of the Ancients, this is an artifact.
Oh yeah,
very cool.
Agreed. And we got another one from Dude Man.
Dude, man, you're on fire.
Dude Man's on a roll tonight.
With your elemental gloves are on fire.
That's a pretty good joke. So these are very rare, wondrous items. They require attunement, and these gloves are infused with the power of the elements and empower your strikes with them. When you make an unarmed strike with your fists, you get a +1 to attack and damage rolls with your unarmed strikes. You can also choose to deal an additional 1d6 elemental damage of your choice: cold, lightning, thunder, fire. The classic elements. Acid should probably be on the list if you're going to do all the elements, because that's the other classic element, unless there's a reason you don't want.
Is it an element?
Yeah, whenever you look at elements.
Listed on absorb elements?
I believe so, yeah.
Well, that's news to me.
Yeah, I think they consider acid an element. I mean, if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. I'm sorry. And if it's not, then just be like, Pete's a dummy, and I do, right?
Well, from a balance perspective, very rare. Maybe. Actually, yeah. I'd say this actually is a pretty good, very rare item.
It's pretty close.
You get to pick any, your choice each strike, I think, is the real key here. The fact that you can change it up works really well.
That seems like cool to me, but I don't know. I'm on the fence. I agree that it's very close. I remember I was reading some of the comments in the chat, and it's meant to be like a cool a way for monks to like feel like they get a magic item that's good for them. Which great, because as much as like part of
Wizards doesn't respect one of their subclasses enough.
Yeah, it's kind of a bummer that monks don't get to use magic items a lot of the time and feel like they're as useful. They're all on those wondrous without a cool weapon. The only martial class that doesn't get that. So I like to see design for monks. That makes me happy.
And honestly, it's like that. You say it's a work in progress, but with the exception of a little bit of phrasing, I mean, that's like ready to roll, I think.
Yeah, I think it's.
In fact, in a home game, that's like perfect.
Yeah, you're fine already. It's.
But as a published piece or as part of a published collection of magic items, it would be pretty damn close.
Yeah, it's close for sure.
All it's missing is sick art.
Oh, I like the your choice each strike too, because I know like it's gonna be completely excessive and irrelevant. But a lot of monks are going to like be like 4 elements technique and use their extra attack flurry of blows hit to do one of each.
Lightning, thunder, and maybe is that the reason you went with 4? Because that's a good enough reason for me.
That justifies it, honestly, for me too. Although I feel like you would want to go acid instead of thunder.
I like thunder more. Personally.
Acid is more of an element.
But lightning and thunder kind of comp over each other.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about the Shadow Amulet, because I'm very excited to see this coming back.
So the Shadow Amulet's back around. This was an artifact that V-Bunny put in. Still requires attunement by a Warlock. Originally, it was... We talked about this last time, and it was a... lets you cast cantrips you don't know, and it teaches this stone how to make those cantrips. And I think one of the things that our comments on it were like... What were the specific... Well, let's read it, and then...
That it was too general to be a specific.
Yeah, there were some ambiguities. I think there was an issue with the DC where it was set to.
Perhaps. Let's check them out.
Yeah. This amulet is fashioned from a single shard of shadowy material originating from the realm of your Warlock patron. While you are wearing it, you gain the following benefits. You can use the amulet as an arcane focus to cast spells. You can try to cast a cantrip that you don't know. The cantrip can be from any spell list, and you must make a spell casting check with a roll of 1d20 plus spell casting modifier versus a DC of 10 plus the number of spells known by the amulet. If the check succeeds, you cast the cantrip, and the cantrip becomes known by the amulet. If the check fails, so does the spell, and the action used to cast the spell is wasted. Additionally, the amulet loses one cantrip known by the amulet chosen by the player. Oh yeah, I remember talking about that.
Yeah.
Yes. How it lost was ambiguous. You know all spells known by the amulet and all spells cast by the amulet use your spellcasting modifier. I remember that. That was another thing we were talking about. Very good. If you're... you probably wanted to say spellcasting modifier and spell save DC, just to clarify there. If the amulet loses a cantrip, you too forget the cantrip and cannot cast it until it is relearned by the amulet.
Casting cantrip number the amulet. Treats the DC as DC 0.
That's maintained, because that's very good. I like that. And to try and cast a spell that is neither known by you nor the amulet, you cannot use this feature of the amulet again until you finish a long rest. You cleaned up a lot of the stuff that were the initial problems there. I think it's pretty close. I mean, I said it before, and I still feel the same way. I love the flavor of this. I love this little rock that you learn.
I still think this is not an artifact item.
Yeah,
it could be a legendary item, perhaps.
I agree. It's not even legendary quite for me,
but I don't think it's quite an artifact.
Yeah.
I like it though. It's very neat.
I do too. That's it. I think it's good. You did a good job. You did a good job finishing everything up on it.
And very much addressing the concerns, specifically the ambiguity, right, and which spells would be lost and all that stuff.
The known cantrip DC is now redundant. For one, you're saying Cold Spark. Some phrasing cleanup. Yeah, I think there are places where there's places where it could be maybe simplified a little bit. It is a little bit complicated for what it ultimately does, but I like the big thing is it's very clear where it is, what it does, and it works. And the interesting thing about this is normally I'd look at an ability like this and say, "Oh, cantrip you don't know, can't put that on like a class or a subclass because." There are going to be new players who just get really confused and spend forever trying to pick their thing. On an item, it's fine, because as a dungeon master, you can just not put the damn item in your game. If you know you have a party that one of the players is going to be really confused because they're going to be like, well, okay, wait, is there a cantrip that helps me the most in this and wants to take 20 minutes to find which cantrip is the best to then try and use? This doesn't. You don't have to worry about that. And as a dungeon master, you can just either choose to use or not use the item. Yeah. So that's it. Oh, acid is in there.
Yes. Yep. Let's talk about the tinfoil hat from Dandere Ninja.
Yeah.
The shiny hat is made of flimsy material and smells of leftover food. Seems to grant the wearer resistance to psychic damage and prevents the wearer from having their mind read and receiving psychic messages. Though you believe the secondary effect might be the result of psychic individuals not wanting to touch your mind. While wearing the hat, you have disadvantage on wisdom saving throws. Okay. I mean, feels like this is in the hat section, probably.
This is a joke item, which I respect. I mean, it gets across the tinfoil hat thing. Probably should have attunement on it because it's a damage resistance. And
you have disadvantage of wisdom saving throws. It's fine.
I guess
it's perfectly fine. You're right though, because I think it should have attunement.
Also, it's like
it's a goofy D&D time item. I like it.
Yeah, that's
Thank
definitely
you for sharing it, Dandere.
Agreed. Like I said, when I read it, it brightened my day a bit.
It made me smile.
The Merchant Mage's Pouch. This was won by Frog. This was another kind of goofy one.
You stopped putting spaces between everything.
Oh no.
Oh no.
You put a big space. Wondrous item, similar to a certain large legendary bag owned by a greedy wizard. This pouch can hold an infinite amount of only one kind of non-magical item, as long as it can fit inside a 2-foot cube. The pouch weighs 10 pounds, even if the contents of the bag would exceed this weight.
This is not a common magic item.
Yeah, it's definitely not a common magic item. This is obviously a reference to Jaboy Bartholomew from Pete and Jeremy's D&D time. But one thing
in Pete and Jeremy's D&D time, this is still not a common magic item. Actually, this is a very strong magic item.
Yeah, it's really good.
I have infinite bricks.
Well, that's the thing is, when I read this design, I thought it was just like supposed to be like a wink, wink, nudge, nudge. You can only put money in it. But no, you just like you put one thing in it, and now I have a bag full of tacks. I have a bag full of. I think a great example is I have infinite caltrops. Is the most obvious like. Oh. This is
well, no, it doesn't generate an infinite amount. You can just hold an infinite amount.
But in D&D time, which is this is designed for, you have an infinite amount.
Yeah, or infinite leaves or infinite water.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. Anyway, it's very good, but
that was a reference Farfel just made to a magical item that I put in all of my
Farku, infinite gold phallus. You don't have infinite of those. You only think you got like 5. But you can put all 5 of them in there.
Very few left. Infinite air. That's actually potentially very good.
Oh shit! You just put your head in when you're drowning, and then
you're set. But then it'll start.
There's a lot of creativity that this would allow. This is a terrifying item, but it's like cool. It's a good way of.
It's very D&D time.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's talk about the suppression stick. That's from Farku in the chat.
Yeah, Farku posted, I think, like 30 magic items in the completed works. I will say, Farku, because I see you hanging out now, I noticed a lot of them were not completed works. Please keep the items that you posted the completed works to stuff that's like polished and you think is of like, the idea for that is you think this is of like print text quality ready. And I know that some of those were stuff that you're just kind of like goofing around and tossing. So save those kind of things for workshop. But these are a couple I picked out as I was reading through them, since we probably don't have time to go through all like 30 of those here that I liked.
Pete, you want to talk about the suppression stick?
Yeah.
Or maybe I should do this now.
Yeah, or take it, sure.
This a baton engineered by the magical police when they get tired of mages sneaking in magic items or changing themselves. Once per day, when you hit a creature with this club, you may cast Dispel Magic on them using your strength. Additionally, this item detects magic and for the detect magic spell with a range of 2 inches from the club.
I fucking love it, dude. You just beat the magic out of someone. Like, you a wizard? Smack. Your magic's done.
It's more than just that, Farku. I mean, it's phrasing on how some of these effects work.
Yeah, and like
there's
also
some cleanup and formatting and presentation to it.
Which is what the bar is kind of expected for that.
But I love this item. I mean,
on the subject of D&D timey items,
I'm just gonna say, Farku. In one of my Dungeons and Dragons campaigns, I have the Modron police that are after the party, and I might just give my Modron police this club. Just all of them will have this club. Quantity over quality? Well, not for the completed works. Unless you want to make like a Google. Well, Farku, if you want to make a Google Doc that is just the Farku Compendium,
that is for completed works.
That can be a completed work, but as individuals, not quite.
Yeah, it's just not the intention of the channel.
Let's talk about the lightning rod.
Yeah, it's another one I liked. As a magical lance, any spell or effect that does lightning damage that affects anywhere within 10 feet of the wielder is absorbed and redirected to target and only affects the wielder. When you take lightning damage, the next time you hit with an attack, the target takes an extra 1d6 lightning damage. So it's almost like a cursed arrow catching shield for lightning. And then it empowers your next hit.
Already.
Wait, is it?
Yes, it is. This is already in the bag, Farku. In fact, it might have already been pulled. Someone might have this item already. Let me see really quick.
Let's go. I love this one. I don't remember it being pulled.
Let's see. Let me go to the character codex. Oh. Nope, no one's pulled it.
Okay. Fargo said these were actually all items submitted into the bag. I hadn't realized that this is what it was for the stream. I get you.
This explains why I've seen this before. I don't know.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen the suppression stick, but I love the suppression.
The suppression stick is great. Yeah.
This is beautiful.
That one killed me a little bit when I read it.
I really like the range of 2 inches. Just
gotta get it close. It's good.
Well, I think the idea, right? It's like it's the airport security, just like.
Oh yeah, I know. The little rod. I was 100% there.
I'm very, very in. Lightning rod plus lightning staff equals exalted. Nice tie-in, blood. We got a collab going in here.
Kind of like an enemy with the lightning rod versus the person with the exalted lightning staff. That'd probably be a bad matchup for the person with the lightning rod.
Oh yeah. Oh,
because wait, Jeremy, this is the most possible damage.
So if we do the Storm of the Ancients and everyone stood within 10 feet.
Well, no, it's
only within 10 feet.
Oh, you're right.
Because lightning rod only does within 10 feet.
Okay, so as many people as you can put into 10 feet, but then all of it goes to the one person.
Well, so it's a 10-foot radius. So that means it's a 20 by 20 cube.
This is called theory crafting, folks.
See if you can fit 4 people in a 5 by 5 square, right? They're all huddled. If it's like a group, it's like a crowd. So it's going to be 400 square feet. And let's get a calculator out here. Actually, we're gonna full count this guy.
A thing I just thought of.
So
if
400 square feet.
If you're still hanging out, dude, man. The thing about regaining charges when you get hit with lightning damage, you're actually immune to lightning damage, so technically you never take it.
64 people.
So that's just a note to consider.
8 d8s. It's going to be 512 d8s of lightning damage.
But imagine if they were a flesh golem who heal from lightning damage. Oh no!
Oh dear God.
That's funny.
Big yikes.
The true enemy.
Anyway.
That's all we got from the shop. And by all we got, I mean like that's the fucking huge pile of stuff that we got.
I loved these ideas. Thank you guys so much for sharing your stuff, for sharing your work in progress concepts, your more fleshed out stuff. Thank you, V-Bunny, for just being such an adamant supporter of D&D time, and for being brave enough to venture into the Lich's Lair. And thanks everybody else for everything else.
Cold Spark, incredible. The double reverse.
That's true.
You ignore your own immunity.
Brain fried.
Dude man over here playing 4D chess on me.
Fair.
Oh my God. That's the end of the stream, guys. Again, Jeremy said it. I gotta say it too. Thank you. You are all amazing, and we really appreciate you guys taking the time. Another big shout out to Crowley. Thanks for joining us in the first half, Crowley, and going over them bards again. It was good to always a joy to have you. And then also a big thanks to V-Bunny.
Still here.
Still hanging out. A big thanks to V-Bunny. Again, thank you so much for coming with us tonight and going through your rogue. And for being the guinea pig in a lot of ways for Lich's Lair here, as we went through and took a look at the rogue. I loved it.
Yeah, I mean, as much as like Crowley and I had been on Lich's Lair, I mean, we were part of the team that made making the show, so it's kind of like
proof of concept, kind of.
Yeah, we aren't fair first contenders. So I'm very glad that you shared your rogue.
Yeah, Fargo, I'm not like that or anything. I'm just saying in the future. That's what it's for. I'm just saying.
Yeah, so.
Yeah. Go workshop next time. You're cool.
We'll still look at them on here.
Yeah, we're still gonna go through them. That's all I got. Thanks again for watching. I love you all very much. Do you have anything else, Jeremy?
If you liked this show and all of the awesome content you've seen on here, check out all of our other content throughout the week. On Friday is Pete and Jeremy's D&D Time, 3 one-shot adventures featuring you, our viewers. On Sundays, we do the Lich's Lair, not the Lich's Lair, Fantasy Labs, And next Sunday, however, is the first. It is the first Sunday of a month, which means instead of Fantasy Labs, we're going to be doing a one-shot of some kind.
Yeah.
It'll either be Word Warriors, Once Upon a D&D Time, or something totally different. And if you want to know what those are, you can learn about that on our website, dndtime.stream. Thank you, guys. We love you all so much for being a part of our community, for being here.